What is up, everyone? This is Press X to Ramble. What is Press X to Ramble? Press X to Ramble is our podcast where we can pretty much get the loose ends of the things we want to talk about, right? And as you can see in this video, we have a very special holiday edition for you. It's sort of a Christmas cancellation edition.
Oh God.
We're not canceled though.
No, we're not. Maybe
Not
Marcus is. Today, we are giving our talks, our laughter, and our questions to a one Marcus, aka Richie, from the movie Christmas Cancellation.
This is so weird.
Not often do we have a resident movie star on our cast.
We bougie, y'all.
I've been here all along. What are you talking about?
Oh, you're right.
Hey, it's Richie's moment now.
Right. I meant a movie that is that you don't have to watch
Current.
in incognito mode.
You know it's a good
Yeah.
movie when you can pirate it.
Right. Yeah.
No, it came free with Prime. You said be a
No,
Prime
no,
member.
No, but it's
I know,
on
it's
YouTube
on
though.
Prime.
Somebody ripped it.
Oh,
Somebody
I
ripped it on
watched
YouTube.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
on YouTube.
It's
Yeah.
good quality. Yeah.
All right, well, viewer, pretend you didn't hear that because we want you to go support this movie.
we want you to pay $15 a month to watch this on Amazon Prime. Okay.
Yeah, you could pay us $15 a month to watch it on YouTube if you want.
Sponsor us, nigga.
Quite honest.
Hey.
I am DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices, aka the nose on the mic, aka I'm not gonna do it, but it's
Do it for the gram.
It's Richie. It's like no.
Marcus got a trademark
I'm
that.
gonna leave.
Oh, I am Sean MF Ross.
What did MF stand for?
Mip Fat Mop. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah,
Mint
Nailed
Fat Mop.
That's the ghetto version of Zip Zap Zop.
man.
Was it Gat Glock Bang or something?
Jig Jag Jigaboo.
Ooh.
Who else? Who else?
Jordan, aka JXBot, aka Jordan Punk,
Ooh.
aka Jordan Ravendorp,
Ooh,
aka
okay.
Jordan, the black dude outside looking at Christmas cancellation through the window.
Don't look out your window.
Somebody call the police.
I am Douglas Nivens II, aka you're very tired, but somewhat victorious.
Ooh.
Barrister of Baltimore.
Somewhat
Like that.
victorious?
Well, because I just won a case, and the
Hey.
judge granted my motion, but I don't know why because the judge never told me. I just won. So
Hey, you know-
I take it.
Privilege.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, is all I say.
This is true.
And then I am Marcus Ellison, aka the janitor, aka your heavyweight champion from Which Nigga, California, aka in this instance, Richie from the movie.
No.
Christmas Cancel-
I will not accept that. You get in character, motherfucker.
That's right.
Isn't he always in character?
Does Richie ever say the N word? I want to know.
Richie's not allowed to say the N-word. This is a syndicated television show.
Right.
Richie says the N-word when the camera's not running.
Richie barely allowed to have a proper shape up.
Oh, Richie,
That's why I was wearing the hat. That's why I was wearing the hat.
So then, Richie, what time is it, Richie?
But Marcus, you're always wearing a hat.
It's Richie time.
Okay, I'll take that.
Hold on, you did it.
It's Richie time.
Yes. With that, we can actually start talking about this movie.
Okay.
Because boy, is it something to talk about.
All right.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What was that Jim Carrey film?
Liar,
Truman
Liar?
Show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
reminded me of that.
I thought it was more like a white version of Get Out, but yeah, I can see that too.
So, okay. So Okay, so we're gonna go into spoilers. We have to.
Marcus snaps his fingers. In the
Actually,
background of all
before we
cast.
go to spoilers, can we do like a brief description so that people can, if they haven't, just go watch it and see for themselves as well if they want to not spoil it yet?
I like
Okay.
that. We can do that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna post on the Instagram for people to go watch it. You know,
Yeah.
because we're gonna have
We can do it.
Here's the description via IMBD. IMDb.
Of course, Jordan. Yes. Please give us your opinion on the brief description of the movie, preferably the first hour.
We'll judge if it's
The,
accurate.
The fictional characters in a popular sitcom wake up to the realization that they are not real, and the show is ending. Now, with cancellation approaching, they must find a way to keep the show going, or they will cease to exist. This is Cancellation. An hour and 32 minutes.
So, if you haven't had a chance to watch it yet,
30
go watch it either legitimately on Amazon Prime or like me on YouTube. Go for it.
Yeah, it's if you like Black Mirror or Twilight Zone, Truman Show, anything kind of existential like that, then this is pretty similar. So
Yeah,
give it a watch.
Yeah.
totally agree. So Marcus,
Yes.
we want to pick your brain a little bit about this movie, because at least for me, when I first started watching this, I was kind of confused because like, where is the Christmas part of this when it first started? It definitely.
You didn't see the Christmas lights in the tree?
They literally talked about having 200 wreaths, my guy.
No, in the 100 movie marathon.
Is that the very beginning?
I must have missed that.
She literally was running around with a wreath in her hand, my guy. And they said, "How many is this now?"
What caught me off guard and what led to my confusion was the actual intro to the movie itself, with the popping on the white screen or whatever. Yeah, the whole Suburbia thing. That confused me because, and I look back and I actually really like that because it makes sense at the end. Mm-hmm. But for me, I was like, this is real low budget. But then like it definitely makes sense like at the end because of what it ends up being actually.
Mm-hmm.
I guess so. I guess Marcus, how were you first introduced to this movie?
So I'm on I'm on a kind of acting database, or not necessarily acting database, but like kind of just like a film database site
like
called Backstage.
It's like LinkedIn for actors?
Sort of, yeah. And Backstage, not Backpage, Backstage.
Sure.
And I got kind of like a notification about a new casting call that came out, and so I read the synopsis and it seemed really interesting. So I auditioned for it. The director emailed me back like pretty quickly and wanted me to come in and read for it. And so I did. I got a call back, and then it was kind of me and maybe like 20, 30 people that got called back, and they would go back in groups because they were basically casting the movie's ensemble, I think, at the same time.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. And so what they would do is kind of bring people back in groups and then cycle through groups. And after a certain point, I kept getting called back with different variations of people. And so I was like, okay, that's a good sign, but I don't want to assume anything. And then so after a while, they let us go for the night. And then I get a call from the director, like literally when I get home, basically casting me in the movie.
Turn around.
Right.
Right now.
Yeah.
So at this point, though, you never saw other Richies auditioning for your part. You were just seeing other cast members who would have been Maggie or Claude or
Right. Yeah, I didn't see anybody else as Richie. I just would do my stuff as Richie and then see different variations of B, Maggie, Claude, and Benny.
So how are your castmates?
Oh, they were awesome. Like we still have a group text to this day, and we keep in touch. They're really cool people.
Did you tell them about the podcast?
Yeah. What's his, actually the actor that played Benny listens to the podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hello,
he's like,
Benny.
oh God, I didn't know that Marcus just be saying nigga so much.
Only Marcus, not Richie.
Right.
Unless Richie's
Exactly.
in the bathroom. So then, Marcus, one thing I wonder about this role that kind of puzzled me is that it seemed like every person who was cast in here played some stereotypical role in a sitcom.
Mhm.
And for your role in particular, the one thing that came to me was that you came across, I mean, I say I have jokingly as like the black best friend soothsayer. And I was wondering, was that on purpose? Was you intentionally supposed to be that the black, I'm not to be offensive, but the black token that comes with that one punchline? Was that intentional, or was that something that just came about over time?
It was intentional. They basically were modeling the cast and the show Suburbia off of kind of 90s era sitcoms.
Yeah.
Which is why I couldn't have facial hair, because like if you look at the shows from that time, nobody was really having facial hair. Everybody was clean cut. They had a certain way of dressing. They had a color scheme, which is why I was wearing like red and so
Final.
right. So they were kind of basing it off of that era. So me being kind of like the token black guy, comic relief, and then
that was intentional. That wasn't
that was
why is the only black guy here again?
that was all by design.
You played that role. I mean, I was like, you are the black best friend that gives that hard truth to that white girl. You know, and if you were gay, you would have been that gay best friend.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah.
I think
and
Sean,
the point also.
Sean mentioned that in the chat, he was like, "Yeah, you're the magical Negro."
Yes!
Quite literally. And
that is
they did this thing basically where they wanted me to be the first person who figures out everything goes wrong, or that this is all a fallacy, but also so that it makes for a complex thing where I have to keep playing this comedic, jokey best friend type while I know that basically the world is ending, and it's kind of like a layered thing.
But
how did you feel? How'd you feel about playing that type of character? Would you want to play that type of character again, the comic relief, or the serial comic relief?
Honestly, as long as it's a good part, sure. I like if it's offensive, then no. But if it's like a role that requires me to do a certain amount of acting and really like challenge myself, then sure, yeah.
One thing I noticed though in this role is that while we saw it, I think it's kind of obvious to the viewer here. I never heard Richie ever noted the racial dynamic. He noted the gender dynamic because he has that line about like why do we have to write in such traditional gender norms? But it was kind of curious to me that Richie never also said that, you know what I wish? I wish for another black person. Like that would have been I was like,
well, we're always happy with our circumstances.
You know what? Whole time, like in hindsight, I kind of do wish that even if it was a throwaway line, I did bring that up.
Yeah.
Like in hindsight, if I could have like made that suggestion, I just for whatever reason it didn't come to me at the time. But like, nah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
It's actually kind of funny though, because now that you say that, it's like, yeah, that is really strange. But like watching it didn't even occur to me. Like, hey, this is the only black guy on screen right now. What? Why is that?
Because we're used to that.
Exactly.
I think that's why in terms of showing but telling, that is quite. I thought it was like, wow, yeah, you are really hamming it up right now for these white people, right? But you also have such dramatic moments, and what got to me was when you start talking about the rules of the show, and then you guys actively trying to work both within and then without those rules.
Yeah. I loved the rules. If you know me from anything, you know that I absolutely love rules, and I love worlds with rules in it. And boy, did this have rules in it.
A lot of rules.
Yeah. So speaking of the rules from the movie, I liked how you explained the rules to B, and like that whole scene where when you were in the bathroom, that was awesome. What bothered me is later in the movie when she took Benny up to the room, I feel like she didn't explain the rules at all, or was that just assumed that she did? But
she explained it, but he was freaked out.
Yeah.
Okay.
To actually, he was actually conscious now, and he's like, "Oh shit, this really is like, where are these sounds coming from?" Because remember, she was freaked out too at first before Richie explained it to her. Like, where the fuck is these noises coming from?
Well, that's the one thing. When she finds out about the rules herself, it wasn't by going into the bathroom. She started saying stop, and then Richie was like, only Richie knew that, hey, something just changed. She was like, why am I just not hearing this? So, it's interesting. It's an interesting concept.
So actually, I have a question about that because when I first saw so to explain to listeners who is watching this but haven't seen the movie, good on you. Also watch the movie after this, but the bathroom is actually the room in between the show itself and the real world. So it's the director's room. So in the room, it's a normal room, has a computer, has a desk, and then on the walls there's papers that's the script of the show.
The murder board.
Yeah. So in my mind, at first I was like, oh, this is the writer's room. So the script that's on the wall is the writer's script. But then I was like, oh wait, is this notes that Richie was taking? Because he was the only one that had access to this room for a while? Or was this actually
that was actually like director's notes or like the writer's notes. And if there's one thing that I've learned over the years with acting is that the script generally is usually supposed to stay the same throughout, but it's always subject to change. And so that's why like those note cards are there. So it's like mapping it out, but the script could change at a moment's notice.
You still have a general overarching thing you're working towards, even if you switch out little elements.
Yeah, because you gotta have your arc. And the one thing that I will say about the murder board, there was one big sign that said shrimp. And I was wondering, was there a story behind that being shrimp, or did it just there? I just kept looking at it. It was like there was no context, no nothing, and I was like,
"Yeah,
all right."
You know, at a certain point, the director was just writing things. Like he just wrote things and put them on the wall, and shrimp was one of them.
Good.
So go ahead.
Well, then one other thing is that it seems like your character also has some of the most range because you have to go from both serious, funny, sometime within the same sentence because of how they are playing with the rules and how people are playing rules against one another. And I was wondering, it seemed to me, I was looking at that there's a lot of improvisation going on. Is that how, especially for those last few scenes in that final arc, is that how you had to play that role, or was there a lot more acting rules over what you could and could not do?
It wasn't full on improv, but it was sort of collaborative between just the actors and the director Justin, where he would kind of give us an outline of like, okay, this is what Richie's feeling in the scene, this is what B's feeling in the scene, so on and so forth. And then we would kind of bounce off of each other as actors and kind of like give each other something and then hope the other one runs along with it. So it wasn't really like, it might seem like it was improv, but a lot of it actually was in the script. And there was a line
about being improv.
Yeah. And that was actually in the script. And there's little moments that were kind of maybe not improv, but like we were kind of messing around, and then Justin kind of liked the way that it went, so we added that, like the dude, like that. That scene, we were kind of messing around, and he liked the way it happened, and so he added in Claude just coming in and being like, dude, like that thing. We were just kind of bouncing off of each other. But yeah, a lot of it was actually in the script, and we were just kind of tweaking it as it was going along.
Okay. So, what would you say was like your hardest scene to act?
Zip zap zop, like easily.
Oh, really? What the fuck is Zip Zap Zop?
That was
regale us.
That was my first question when I was like reading it, and I'm like, "What is this? Who? What? Did you make this up?" And they're like, "No, it's a classic game." And I'm like, "Not in my community,
Not in my America."
That's a cultural experience you just had to. Okay.
Right? Exactly.
How did they explain that to you?
Basically, kind of like just it's a back and forth, almost rhythm game that you have to like make sure that like if someone says zip, that person has to say zap, and then you have to say zop, and if you fall off of that, then the rhythm's off, so you lose a point basically.
So when they said rhythm, did it just instantly click in your head? Like, oh, okay.
It did. Nah, the hardest part for that scene was the fact that we had to ramp up the intensity, keep saying lines, keep remembering like our motivation in the scene, and make sure that we were like on the right tempo. So it was a lot more complicated than it looked. Where I don't remember how many takes we had, but like that took a while to shoot.
One other thing I also knows about the issues, one of the central questions of it, and I enjoyed, like I said, I got really hooked into when it got to the stakes involved, and even though there was a basic question about if you know that you're about to end your character life, do you just enjoy it or do you fight it? And I remember Claude, who I guess supposed to be the dumb guy. And he has his line. He's like, maybe we should just I guess because Maggie does everything. And by the way, I fell in love with Maggie.
I knew you would.
I'd go with Maggie. But I remember he was pretty much made an argument in the beginning, like maybe we should just celebrate and just enjoy what we got. Like, why are we fighting this? And then B was like, no. But then towards the end, it seemed like Claude's way may have won out. Like, why don't we just do whatever we want? It's like, even though they all dismissed it and then they came to embrace it. And so I was wondering, was that intentional for Claude, the quiet one, to provide the rationalization that everybody else had to grow and accept?
I don't know if it was... It might have been intentional for Justin, but I'm not sure if it was intentional for Claude to be the one to give kind of the I guess denouement or the way forward. I know that at a certain point, by adding in like the conversation between B and the writer, basically.
Yeah, that.
Which, by the way, his eyes creep me out. But go ahead.
Yes.
I wanted to give a shout out to that moment, and actually that whole scene, and also the scenes where the show is off air. I loved how the lighting was presented in the house, because like it definitely gave that, like as Sean mentioned in chat, it was like he was like, oh, is this a horror movie? Like
it kind of switched over.
Like,
oh yeah,
evil Marcus. I was like, who's this person?
Yeah.
Fun fact: that house was the director's house, and so he basically they decorated the whole house for it to look like nice Christmas. House. Yeah, it is a nice house. I was like, oh, all right, this was a bathroom too. So basically, like, he basically got permission from his wife to make it so that like the whole house is decorated for the amount of time that we were filming, which I think was like a month and a half. Wow. For it to look like Christmas all the time. Yeah. But also because it was his house, they were able to mess around with lighting and stuff a little bit more than maybe if they rented the space and maybe had to worry about certain things. But yeah, the way that they would mess around with the lighting so that it's like, okay, this is sitcom lighting and this is real world cinematic lighting and whatnot was really impressive. And honestly, if it wasn't like a micro budget indie film, like if there was, you know, if they had a little more money and were working with maybe more powerful cameras and whatnot, it would have only enhanced what they were already doing with the lighting and the idea. But the fact that they were even able to do that period was really cool. But no, Doug, I think that Claude bringing up his idea or his viewpoint of, okay, well, maybe we should just live it, is just kind of throwing that out there. Like, everybody had their viewpoint of, well, what should we do with this time? Or do we keep fighting the show? Do we just ride it out? Do we? And that conversation with the writer and B was kind of like,
nah,
let us figure that out. You know what I mean? Like, if you cut things off without us being able to come to our own conclusion, then you're robbing us. So, yeah.
But we also had to sit through B being Katara from Avatar and give a monologue, a soapy monologue every 10 to 15 minutes. I'm like, damn, this is Katara. I just think, like, we just need to come together. And I was like, Katara. And Richie was like, and he was like, hey, we can do this, you know, the calm voice, and like, oh,
right.
Oh, B. I give it to the actress. She gave it to her all. But,
yeah, she was asked to do a lot, and she had to cry like multiple times throughout that. I was like, I'm glad it's not me.
Terrible. So, speaking of which, actually, we'll have you answer last, Marcus. But everyone else, who was your favorite character in this movie? Jordan, you go first.
I mean, Marcus's character, Richie. I mean, like, it's only when I watched it for. I just skipped those scenes.
I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
I would. Now, I would definitely say I think Richie was my favorite character as well, only because I felt like at first it was like, he kind of feels like the linchpin to this whole group, and then it was like, oh yeah, he definitely is like the one that's keeping everyone like together. Yeah. So that was for me, and he just happened to be this guy, so.
I did appreciate Marcus's, like, I could totally feel like how natural it was for you to just kind of shut some stuff down. They would say, but it'd be like, I don't know, it would just, you were very concise about, no, that's not going to work. I think it was somewhere in the beginning when someone was working on like the video cabinet or something like that. You're like, no, don't do that. You just walked off screen, you know, like, that was a funny moment.
Yeah,
that you could only do. I think I don't think anyone else could have done that.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
I like when he gave him the old Itachi Sasuke before he
no, you're tired.
You're dizzy now.
He's like,
take me.
Surprised you throw him off a cliff into a volcano. This is the only way my son can get stronger.
What about you, Doug? Who was your favorite character?
I mean, Margaret, you are quite talented. I admit you had amazing range, but I would say that, as I said before, I felt more emotionally connected to Maggie. I felt like if I was any of these characters, I'd be most like her.
Yeah.
And there was a scene that she said, there was a line that she said that made it really hit home, where she's like, I don't go to sleep. Like, we just go to a room and then it's the next day. And we don't kiss. It's like, it brought to mind, like, this is like hell. Like, and it goes to the other issue, which I really like, was if you're in an environment that is this never ending, where your life is controlled, even to the line that Richard said, which is like, I love you, but I don't know why. I think I love you because I'm supposed to love you.
I think I love her.
Gucci, you know,
love me. I'm sorry.
I love that tension to it. So yeah, I mean, it's no comms to you, Marcus, but like, if I was anybody, I would be mad and be like, yo, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?
No, Carolyn, the actress that played Maggie, killed that moment where she was kind of having that momentary breakdown. Like she killed that. And I mean, me personally, like my favorite characters are like Maggie. I do like Richie, not because I'm playing him, but I actually do like Richie. And then, funnily enough, like I like Claude because Claude is funny to me.
Yeah.
Claude has my favorite line in the entire movie where they're it's after my funeral, spoiler alert, and they're sitting at the Pac-Man machine and Claude is like, did you know that Pac-Man was supposed to be made Puck-Man? But they didn't want kids changing the name to fuck.
There was a story about that. Yeah.
I almost like watching that scene. I almost lost it. I thought that was so funny because of his deadpan delivery during the entire part of it. It was so freaking funny. But now, yeah, like honestly, like I'm close to the actors, so like I love all of them. But like, yeah, no, Maggie, I love Maggie's character a lot. She's such a smart ass in a great way.
Like to that line, she's like, I thought the show was about me, but I'm only here when you're around. I was like, oh honey, you didn't know that you was a supporting role. Oh honey. It was like, oh, her pain.
Plus Maggie will cut a hoe.
Yes, she would.
Like
I wanted her to cut B. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for her to just slap us and like, girl, we need come on now.
Terrible.
But yeah.
All right. So what was if you guys had any, what was your surprise moments of the movie?
Realize I think I'm with Sean when Sean said earlier, I didn't know it was a horror movie. I didn't know either.
It wasn't intended to be, it looks like. It's just that weird tonal shift when shit got real, like the curtain was pulled back.
Yeah. It's like existential horror. Like no one's getting murdered, but like there's definitely an element of horror because these people are losing their sense of self.
Yeah, I will say that when B talked to the writer,
the writer,
yeah, that scene was probably the most surprising for me because I was
understandably
I was watching with my wife, and when it flipped to like the harsh contrast of black and white, like she was kind of like, is this gonna be horror? And I was like, I don't think so. I'll let you know. So like that entire scene, I was kind of just like not really on edge because I didn't think like a monster was going to jump out, but I was just like, I don't know where they're going to go with this. And then like when the people started to appear with the contrast on their face, it was just like this slightly freaking me out just a little bit, but let's see where this goes. But I really enjoyed that scene as well though.
I guess what you could say like a psychological horror.
Yeah. Or a psychological thriller for sure. Funnily enough, I was actually surprised, because obviously I read the script before we like filmed anything, but when I was reading the script, the scene where Richie sacrificed himself surprised me because I wasn't. I figured because he's like,
I would never do that.
You mean the only black character to save his white brethren? No, never.
You want me to die?
Like that's like total.
I will say I was surprised that Marcus wasn't the first person to die.
Me too. I figured because like basically Richie's like Obi-Wan Kenobi, and like so he has to like lead Luke Skywalker to a point of enlightenment and then die. Like I was like, okay, I get it, but I still was kind of surprised to see how it happened, and like and that's actually,
the show opened the door and everything. It was like, you got to go.
Right?
Damn. But Richie rules. he did say when the door opens, it wants you to go.
Yep. You can't fight that. And
when a rich nigga wants you, ain't nothing you can do about it.
And, like that scene was really cool to shoot outside of it being hard, but also to watch in execution. It was kind of, because usually when I watch myself on screen, I'm still getting over seeing myself on screen. So like I'm just like, I don't even watch playback when I do, like when I'm shooting. Like sometimes the director will be like, do you want to see playback of this? And I'm like, nah, I'm good. Wait, like let me know when we're setting up for the next. So watching myself, I'm usually like picking myself apart. But in that particular scene, I was just like, yeah, no, that actually came out really well with the, way that I was having to go back and forth from like intentionally trying to push B away and make myself look like the bad guy so that I could get out of here. I thought that was a really cool moment.
So wait a minute, Rich is like, bounce y'all. I don't know where y'all going at, but I'm gonna go my way. I'm gonna have a funeral and everything. I think that is a good way to go out. If you're gonna go out first. That means all your friends have to mourn you.
Also, did y'all peep that like Richie's last name is Wears a Hat?
No, I
know
that.
That's funny.
Oh
on
my God.
on the funeral program, it says Richie wears a hat.
They didn't zoom in on it close enough for us to look at it, I think.
Okay, but yeah, I just thought I would
That is
give a
hilarious.
little inside baseball.
Terrible.
Oh my gosh. All right. So all right, let's talk about the ending. And
Okay.
yeah. So for me, well, okay. Before we do that, let's talk about the overall twist to the movie, which I really enjoyed. And me being a person that loves effective callbacks, it once you understand like, oh, this is a sitcom and they're living in the sitcom, like I kind of wanted to, and Shreen wouldn't allow it, kind of wanted to go back and actually just look at the movie over again, just to pick out the certain points. Because like, as I said earlier in our little ramble, the beginning was kind of weird for me because like, what is this? But then I realized, oh, this is the intro to the actual show. And then even the harsh stage life was like, why is this happening? That's the show. And then how the light switches off to show that it's off camera or whatever. Like, I absolutely love the twist of this. And I think that it was done, as you said, like this is an indie film. Like it was done under budget and it was super effective for, the amount of money they paid for it or whatever. Like that, I loved it. I love that twist.
I'm glad, man.
Yeah.
I like that Richie's Jesus. Merry Christmas. That's the Christmas spirit right there.
He arisen 7 days later.
Jesus was black. Jesus was black. We know this.
He opened arms and everything. Oh my God.
Yo, that tracks.
You're not wrong. No, it's I like to, I'm not going to say that everything that I've done as an actor so far has been great, because that's not true. But
are you regretting your casting couch movies?
Shut up.
Are you regretting the amount of, not amount, but the amazing work that you did for the Chinese commercial?
How about that? Yeah, you're international now. Come on.
Right. You're a superstar guy. What are you talking
You're
about?
the next Beyonce or something like that.
Beyonce
with a hat.
Right.
But like, no, like in all seriousness, I think that so far I've been fortunate enough to do things that I thought were interesting, even if like, for whatever reason, maybe the end result wasn't as good as I had hoped or whatever. I've always done things that I thought were interesting because when I sought out the role, I read the story or something and thought it was interesting or the character was interesting. And this was honestly one of the more interesting things that I've ever done because it was such a high concept idea. Usually on an indie level, at least, a lot of indie films are more just kind of straightforward dramas or comedies or romances. Or if it is a comedy, they're able to be a little more absurd because it's comedy. But usually things are a little more base level. And to see this come along and it just be so ambitious, and it drew me to it immediately. And I think all things considered, you know, there's rough around the edges and we only had so much of a budget to work with. But I think all things considered, I'm really proud of what it ended up being. And to your point, DJ, like that twist was a big part of it. I love the way that they kind of threw that in there to kind of add just that last minute extra layer to everything, but also bring it home in a way that didn't feel contrived, you know?
Right. It was a strange thing to watch, a strange premise, because you did such a great acting job, but I don't want to discount the rest of the cast because it's an odd premise to where your character was written to show a different amount of range, whereas they were stuck acting or overacting as if they were on a 90s sitcom. So they were playing caricatures. So I don't think their acting was bad by any means. You just stood out more so because they allowed you to stand out because of the writing.
Right.
And that's the one part I think, but that's also, isn't that a lot of time the role that we have as like the Black Tokens, that you can do things that your other characters can't do because you're supposed to be almost the outsider. You rather no, not outside. You have a dual pass. You can be in the moment in their world, but also see things outside. That's why you're the best friend. You're the suicide. You can see the big picture, literally in this sense.
Well, I don't think they wrote black people like that back then in the 90s. Necessarily.
Well, depends on the show because
depends on the show.
But no, I hear what you're saying. Like, and I think that that's also an interesting kind of viewpoint on it, Doug, is just like you're at once the friend and the outsider at the same time. And like, so you do have a vantage point that the others wouldn't. But also, Sean, I absolutely agree. Like, it wasn't just the me show, even though y'all watched the movie because I was in it. But like, I really.
You were in it?
No, we were watching for Richie, not for you.
I'm sorry.
We support black artists.
You're right. You're right. Shout out to Richie,
black actors,
wherever he is. But, no, I really, really liked working with all of the actors. Like I said, we still keep in touch, and I think that they're all really talented. Like Elliot, the guy that plays Benny, he's predominantly a theater actor. So is Carolyn, who played Maggie. They're actually married, by the way. So
really?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if they were siblings or they were married.
No, yeah, they're married in real life, and they're both like in the area, like pretty prolific theater actors, and they're all really talented. And like Lauren, who plays B, like she had to do a lot in this movie, and I was really impressed with her. And Claude Joe, he's also great, and like I feel like he could have easily just been a flat one note character, but I thought that he was able to add enough comedy and like stuff to it that I think it stood out as well. And I was really impressed with everybody in that movie, and they helped me be good because I had things to bounce off of. So like,
Marcus, did you have to do this during the pandemic?
No. We filmed this last March, so the pandemic wasn't even a thing.
So March 2019.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, we filmed all of this before COVID was even a thought. Exactly. A twinkle in my dad's eye.
Some of my clients still believe that it was cooked up in a Chinese laboratory.
Still, hopefully correct them.
Don't save them. They don't want to be saved. But it was actually, fun fact. When I was filming this movie, it was actually around my birthday, and I was supposed to. DJ knows about this. DJ ended up going to Deep Creek, and like A friend of ours, a friend of ours, Chagall, like we were gonna do a dual birthday thing up in Deep Creek at like a chalet up there, and I wasn't able to go because I got cast in this, and I'd have to be filming during that period of time. So everybody else went to Deep Creek, and I was filming this movie. So that's what I wasn't able to go to Deep Creek for.
Man, well, it was a worthy sacrifice.
It was, yeah. It's wild to even be on like Amazon Prime. Like it's weird.
You have your own,
oh yeah.
You have your own page on Amazon Prime that gives a detail of all the movies you're in. I was like, oh snap, that's crazy.
Yeah. So more things to come. You know, I got some stuff coming this year. So you know,
you're gonna be in Ant-Man 3. You're playing Cassie.
I wish.
I wish they recast Cassie for you.
Exactly. Why is my
Does this mean you get an actor's card now?
An actor's card?
Are you part of the Actors Guild?
Yeah, the String Actors Guild.
Nah, you know what, man? Like the freaking union in the Actors Guild is such a like. It's really hard to get into,
right? Before you get a shot to get in or something like that.
I have to be part of what?
I heard it's like you have to be a part of like multiple movies or something before you can get a shot.
Yeah, but like honestly, it's really not fully defined how, because by this point, I'm pretty sure I've been in several things that should have given me SAG eligibility, and I haven't gotten anything. And the other way,
my guy.
I mean, if you want, I mean,
I know so much.
if you got that connect,
come on.
Because the only other way for me to get into the guild without the vouchers is to pay and
pay the dues for it, right?
Yeah, and it's a pretty penny to like get in, and honestly, so far I don't feel like I even needed it. Because I've pretty much gotten everything that I've gotten so far off of word of mouth and connections that I've made. Now, once I get out to California, I'm going to need to find an agent and everything. But even then, I'm going to try to just keep doing what I've been doing and get an agent. And if I really need to get into the Screen Actors Guild, then I'll find a way in. But otherwise, I'm honestly fine with just doing what I've been doing.
So then, Marcus, to a much larger point, how do you feel about your career at present and your immediate future?
I'm proud of my career so far. You know, I made a conscious decision about like 5 years ago to really put my feet to the pavement and make something happen with this. And there have been ups and downs along the way. I've had long dry spells. I've had periods of time where just this was a bunch of stuff coming. COVID actually really presented me with a lot of opportunities, and I wasn't expecting that. At the top of this year, I thought that I wasn't going to be acting at all in 2020. I was like, well, I guess I guess it's a wash for 2020. I'll jump back into it 2021, and lo and behold, just a lot of things started to come my way in the back half of the year, and actually, probably more than ever, I am now everything that I've done this year. I've been paid to do everything. That's what I'm talking about.
Yay! Pay your taxes. Yes,
exactly.
I'm glad getting paid. I'm glad getting paid for your work, man. Because too long are they like oh, you're just coming in. We got to make sure hey, you're getting exposure. Like fuck that. No.
Right. Exactly. Exposure that's unacceptable at this point. Yeah. And
not for not for COVID.
That's true.
And I've been fortunate with the stuff that I've gotten. I've really built some really awesome relationships with people, actors, directors, writers that I still keep in contact with to this day. And 2021 is looking good. You're asking about my immediate future. 2021 is shaping up to be the best year I've ever had as an actor. I've got some stuff coming down the pike that you know about and some that you don't know about yet. And yeah, man, I'm excited.
Well, don't forget about us, please.
Boy,
you know,
what?
I'm trying to go to the West Coast too. I'm not trying to like land and like take an Uber. I want to have a car show up like, oh, you want to Marcus and Friends? Here's the front door.
You're gonna have the name cards.
When I visit you.
You could try to forget us, but we'll never forget about you.
I couldn't forget about y'all if I tried, because I edit for this podcast.
We're gonna be like herpes. Will come out in the most inconvenient moment.
Marcus, you forgot about us.
Guys, I'm recording. Yeah, but you better have that shit ready by Friday.
Nah, but like honestly,
so everyone else can hear us too.
I'm looking forward to.
I honestly
get on a video game so we can like play him and then shoot him.
Oh, dude, I can't wait for that to happen too. Like, I can't wait to send y'all a picture of me in a mocap suit looking crazy.
You could be barber number 2 in NBA 2K23 or whatever.
It's like, look at all these balls on my face.
What them hands do.
But honestly, before you guys like close this out, I want to say thank you guys for watching this. You know, I know that I was in it, but like you didn't have to check it out, and I really appreciate you guys checking it out, taking time out of your schedule to watch this movie. Whether you liked it or not, I'm glad that you watched it. So
that shit was trash. I want my hour and a half back.
Can you imagine if we were like, no, we're not watching this like Cam did? Oh, no, Cam actually watched it too. He enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we end, I had one last question, and it concerned the ending because it left me in a weird place.
Okay.
Did they all die at the end? When B was like, what, credits and scene or something?
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like she just forced the show to end.
She killed everybody.
And I'm like, wait, hold up.
I think that is meant to be left up to interpretation.
Okay.
Kind of like
I figured from reading the script and being in it, I figured, especially after the conversation she had with the writer, that things were just going to go on for as long as they could come up with things. Right. So in my mind, they just kept going with the show. Now, there is an argument that could be made that she just cut that joke right there. And
she killed everybody, man. She's a mass murderer.
If she did that, that'd be crud because no one else knew. Like everybody else was not in on this.
She brought Richie back just to kill him again.
Let me tell you, we had a conversation yesterday, me and Shireen, about the ending, because I was like, I feel like she killed them all, and she was like, no, I don't think that happened. I was like, I'm gonna ask.
Nah, yeah, I think that just given the character and the arc of the movie, I'm pretty sure that they just kept going, but it wouldn't surprise me if actually they just were like, well, it's been a good run, guys.
Well, actually, it's funny that you say that, because with that being said, this has been a wonderful episode of Press X to Ramble, the Christmas cancellation edition.
Hey.
We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed talking to Marcus about filming this episode. Partly. Weird. Don't forget to rate your favorite podcast. Every little bit helps. That's kind of weird to say because this isn't a podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your favorite YouTube channel. That's Press X to Start YouTube channel. And you can get the deets somewhere on our website. Go there, which is pressx2start.com.
The deets.
Yes.
Until next time, we want to wish you a happy holidays, happy New Year's, happy 2021 not being as shit as 2020 has been. And fuck you, Donald Trump. You're getting the fuck out the office.
Peace.